Okay, so I'm raising money for Covenant House, which is a homeless youth shelter. I'm trying to raise $10,000 today. It's an extraordinary organization that not only gives homeless youth the necessities of food, shelter, clothing. They also provide them with the resources to not only get off the streets but to stay off the streets, education and all sorts of life experiences, job training. And the thing that I found the most profound about it, and something that I hadn't thought of before, so I've been working with this organization for the past 4 years, and visiting numerous locations and teaching acting classes and stuff like that. But the thing that I was struck by the most was that a lot of these kids had never been told. Sorry, it's emotional for me. They've never been told that I love you, or you're good enough, or you can do this, you can succeed. And that is something that I have so taken for granted. Everything that I have in my life is because of that. Is because I was set up with that very base level of humanity. And that is something that needs to be given is shocking to me, but I think it's something that this organization does very well. So I'm trying to raise some money for them. It's important to me. If you guys want to visit my Twitter or Instagram, click the link in the bio. Donate what you can. Every little bit helps.
Have you seen a lot of success stories in the 4 years that you've been?
Very much so. A lot of the kids who kind of graduate from the program come back and give back and are get back involved with the system and trying to get other kids off the streets, and a lot of kids just go off to live very full lives. It is a very high success rate, and it's an international organization. It's all over the world. It's worth your time and energy.
Yeah, switching back to the musicians, if that's okay.
Yes.
Season 4, what can you tell us about Quentin, where he's at, his alter ego?
Quentin doesn't exist.
Brian is his name.
His name is Brian. I like to call him Bry Guy. He's a sunny disposition. It's fun. From an acting perspective, we're doing sort of like a hard reboot. We get to see these people experiencing magic all over again, but from a brand new perspective. I think Quentin came at it with a lot of skepticism and was sort of perpetually disappointed with what he found magic to be. I think because he was someone who felt like he was suffering in his life, and wanted a quick fix and imagined that magic could do that. And it was something that he always fantasized about. And then when it actually came true, it wasn't as there are no quick fixes in life, even with magic, and learned that it wasn't going to fulfill him in the ways that he needed it to. And so I think he has a complicated relationship with it. Brian's relationship with magic, on the other hand, I don't think he's someone who has really even thought about magic. I think
Never read the Fillory books?
Huh?
Never read the Fillory
Never read the Fillory books. I think maybe he read half of the first Lord of the Rings book, and he was like, it just talks about leaves and grass so much, I just can't take it anymore. Elves? What? And then it's thrust into the clutches of this evil monster with sort of an insatiable appetite for blood. And carnage, and is learning magic from that perspective. I think it's a little bit more wide-eyed and shocking. I don't remember what the question was.
It was about who Brian is as a character.
I think that...
But that pretty much answers it.
Cool.
So you've had a lot of different romantic adventures. Maybe you talked to Olivia a little bit, and she was talking about how much you missed season 1, Hugh and Alice together. And I was wondering, do you feel the same way? Are you hoping Quentin has more love adventures or relationships? You want to go back with Alice? Do you have a ship for Q? Is what I'm asking. I stumped you. I'm so sorry.
No, it's
So
sort of
not
it's just so complicated. It's I think he's on a solo journey for a minute. I think he's been spending a lot of time learning about himself. This is a person who now we find has the emotional wisdom of someone who is 120 years old. After the episode where he lives a full life, that's something that they remember to an extent. Maybe not vividly, but I think it lives in here. Because of that, he's a very different person than when he started. And Alice, I think, has gone through an equally complicated journey. I think they're intrinsically tied to each other in the same way that I think Quentin and Elliot are. Yeah, oh my god, we were supposed to do this together. I don't know how. Because you were too busy doing other bullshit. Quick, I'm speedy. I'm efficient. I was trying to talk about how nice our relationship was and how intrinsically tied our characters were. Yeah. Back to life. Back to reality.
So one of the things that SDCC does so
Q can do bad all by himself. He was like learning to love himself and find that journey.
Yeah, that's where I'm at with him. We'll see what the writers throw at me.
So one of the things the series does so well, even though it's a fantasy show, is tackling mental illness. How, as an actor, do you prepare for those scenes?
It's something that I take very seriously. It's something that I always fear being flippant about. It's a conversation that I don't think we have enough. And so, because we don't have it enough, it's delicate. I just try to do my best to make it as important.
Reunited.
Want some water?
I have my own. Do you want some?
Yeah. Thanks.
Sorry, we're having
Good water.
an important conversation, but
Okay,
this
bye.
is better.
I'm leaving.
Really?
I don't know. I have one more to do.
Oh, you do it.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Is your
Okay.
wife aware of this relationship? Comfortable with it.
yeah, we're very secure.
So you take mental health issues very seriously.
I do take it very seriously. It's something that I put a lot of focus onto. It's something that I think we as a cast were drawn to this story for. It's something that I think the books talks about in a way that I'd really never experienced fantasy broaching, and I think it's a nuanced perspective, and it's rewarding to come to Comic-Con and to interact with the fans, because so often we're up in Vancouver making a show about magic and it can feel flippant and silly. And it's nice to know that when we come back here, last year we were in a hall of 2,000 people, 2,000 strangers, and 90% of the people who wanted to come up and ask questions wanted to talk about their own experiences with depression and anxiety and sexual assault. And to be a part of something that in a room full of strangers, your innermost demons or struggles are on the tip of your tongue is pretty profound. And it's nice to know as an artist that the things that we are fighting for are coming across, and that it's worthwhile.
Hi everyone. That said, is there anything fun in the
Not
moments?
I'm less drawn to the light moments. There's a fair amount of physical comedy coming your way from me in one of the first episodes. And that's all Yeah. Like a lot of like falling and choking, and like it's a series of unfortunate events for whoever this character is.
Tone-wise, when you think about this season compared to the others?
right in front of us?
We're like right at the beginning, you know. The tone of the show is kind of like all over the place, in an exciting way. Sometimes it's a drama, and sometimes it's a comedy, and sometimes it's both, and sometimes it's a musical, and sometimes it's a mystery, and sometimes it's an adventure, and sometimes it's a thriller, you know, like that kind of stuff. The writers have provided themselves a lot of freedom to explore a lot of different genres. This season so far, we're in a little bit of like horror. I spend 90% of what we've shot so far covered in blood, and so that, you know, it's sticky.
Is it your own blood or someone else?
Can't say.
Oh dear. So what is it like playing scenes against Hale, given the history between Quentin and Elliot, and now Elliot is, you know, a monster?
Supposing we're in a world where Quentin comes back,
Yes, in
and
that imaginary world.
someone were to remember those sorts of things, I would imagine that it would be difficult, that someone might devote their lives to trying to get their friend back. Supposing.
That's a great hypothetical. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.